It also would be the most passive-aggressive season ever.
Oh my God.
Like the feelings that you would be able to see but not hear.
Right. The tears.
That would be amazing.
I would watch it.
Hey everyone, it's MeraMangle.
And Fabrielle.
And welcome to another Mangled morning.
Woo!
You're giving very intense today. You have feelings?
I feel like I'm a star!
Mm.
And you're Jean Grey.
I'm literally like a star of cosmic fire.
That's what we're getting today.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm a figurative star and you're a literal star.
You have to be a star to be on Drag Race.
That's
allegedly.
True. Right, or you get axed.
Or have a family connection. Because today we're talking about Nepo drag queens on Drag Race. Nepo queens, how about that? Nepo queens on Drag Race.
Nepo queens, yes.
Nepo queens on Drag Race. Of course.
Not a nipple queen.
No, yeah, you gotta keep that covered up. Put a face down. And blur it out.
Right.
The whole Nepo Babies theme trend has been a big thing on social media. Yes. You know, it's always been part of Hollywood. And a part of the real world, in every facet. It's not just in Hollywood.
Right.
It's also clearly an effect on Drag Race. So we're going to talk about some of the most notable Nepo queens on Drag Race. And we could talk about, you know, of course, their connection and why we think they were cast and how they did compared to their predecessor.
Right.
Did they live up to expectations? Did it feel like a nepotism thing in a negative way?
Did they withhold the family name?
Right.
Make them proud?
Or was the family name overshadowing them?
Did they besmirch the family name?
Before we get started, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like the video, and join the Patreon where you can see all kinds of additional content. You can't see, we're always off
on the last one.
Right.
It's on the last one.
Last one of the week. Now you can also, which is weird, you'd think we'd almost sync up more.
Right.
Content you can't see on YouTube, plus you're helping support the channel. Like, where was I? Now you can also support the channel by tipping on Venmo or CashApp, like Nick G, always coming through for us, and really, over the years, if it wasn't for Nick G, there's times, especially lately, you know, because it's a new baby channel still. We went from having almost 70K subscribers to 9. Yeah. But we are nearing 10, so thank you for all subscribing.
Yes.
And help us get us to 10K.
Technically, this is a Nepo channel.
To myself.
To yourself.
Can you do that, though? That's not...
You're your own mother.
Is that...
You went back in time.
I don't know if that applies.
You're your own grandmother.
Michael J. Fox. It would be more like if I helped you put a channel up or something.
Right.
You know, like,
that would be Nepo.
Here's my nieces,
yes,
you know.
Which we should do.
Yeah. But they said, thank you for all the amazing content. The videos help keep me entertained. Love you, Mera and family.
Oh, so sweet.
And now, of course, you can also tip using the YouTube thanks, which we'll go over some of those at the end of the video. Early on in Drag Race history, there are some drag sister connections or, you know, adjacent. Like, again, I would call you and Chloe like nieces. There's gray areas. There's lots of gray areas with drag families.
Like, you might get somebody like a booking, you know. I know, but I do know, like, drag families that they used to have a whole venue, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And then they basically are oh, here's this to my daughter or my, you know, so-and-so, my niece or whatever.
Right. Some people, the whole show is their family.
Right.
But early on in Drag Race history, there wasn't a lot of connections like that were impactful. So I thought from the early seasons we could talk about some of the most significant. Yes. The first two we have here are moms, where their daughters were on first. Chad Michaels, Morgan McMichaels was on first. And then Alyssa Edwards, her daughter Shangela was on first. But with both of them, what's different from the girls below that, which is Alaska and Laganja, is it wasn't part of their story. Alyssa was cast because of Coco. Because that story, like, it had nothing to necessarily do with Shangela. On season 5, Alaska, her partner, had won the season before. Yeah. It was very much part of the story. And then Laganja, very different than Alyssa and Shangela. Laganja came in trying to be mini Alyssa and trying to put on that character that you know, the girls were calling her out for trying to be Alyssa.
Alyssa on an edible. And it's funny, though. I feel like, aside from Laganja, I feel like Chad, Alyssa, and Alaska kind of did better than their predecessors.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I mean, Alaska didn't at first, not in that season, because she
but now
won,
now everyone reveres her in a much higher name
I think most queens are more revered
than Redacted Needles, right?
Alaska did have an interesting story, because you remember that first episode, of course, she's brought in, they call out that she's Sharon's partner, and it's very much a thing. Yeah. But then she also gives up in that first mini challenge, and so it's feeling very like, oh, she's only here.
Oh, is it the water tank, right?
She really was not trying.
She was
not taking it seriously.
She was really bratty. She was like, I give up.
It wasn't like she fought for that spot, although she did.
No, she did.
She auditioned, I think, before Sharon ever did.
Yeah, no, come to realize, she is like the Drag Race super fan.
She is the Drag Race queen. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like she at first impression wasn't giving that at all.
But I thought it was so funny that they were like, I think even one of Roxy's reads for her was like, oh, you're a second-rate version of your husband or whatever.
Yeah, in the roast.
Yeah, and it was just
it came up a few times.
It did, but I just feel like their drag is so different.
It is.
Like, Alaska is not spooky.
She's the camp trash queen?
The camp trash queen. And, like, Shangela didn't really have a lot of overlap of aesthetics with Alyssa.
Shangela didn't have a lot of drag.
She didn't have a lot of aesthetic, period.
Right.
But they can dance. I feel like that's one thing about the House of Edwards. They can dance the house down boots.
Laganja, everyone knows the story, but it traumatized her to the point where she still doesn't want to come back.
Yeah. I would love to see her back, though.
That's to where her mom's been back 3 times.
Right.
And finally
has a crown now.
The first 3 all came back on All Stars and got crowns. So that means Laganja's next. Those are really the most notable ones, in my opinion, on the early seasons. Let us know in the comments below if maybe seasons 1 through 9, there's more that stand out to you. We're going to start off at season 10. When it comes to the connection that I have here as a reference, in a lot of cases that's not the only connection from Drag Race. Like there's multiple connections you could put.
Like Mayhem could have a whole...
Right. On season 10 we have Cracker and Monet, which the reference I'm putting is Bob. Cracker was her daughter, and Monet's her sister. Good Judy. Mm-hmm. And then Sheer Needles was the mother to Aquaria, the season 10 winner. Of course, Vanjie and Alexis Mateo.
True, yes.
And then Mayhem, like you mentioned,
she could have Chad up there too.
Detox,
Raja, Morgan.
Because they did in Delta, they did like a montage of like her drag sisters that would be her family.
Right.
But Adore is kind of her daughter. And Adore took her catchphrase, the party catchphrase.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy. I didn't even think about that.
That's why she says, came to crash the party.
Yeah. Can you imagine, though, like
everyone in your family getting on, and you have to keep auditioning.
And you have to keep auditioning. I'm so glad that she did get on,
She never does good on Drag Race, but you still love her, which is actually kind of hard to do. Like, she's great at drag.
Right.
And you love her as a person, but she's barely on any season.
Right.
That's very difficult to do.
It is hard. It's a difficult job. And another difficult job would be birthing Ms. Cracker. But I love Bob for that.
And didn't Cracker and Bob date for a minute?
Did they? Oh, I think so.
I feel like that's how they met.
Yeah,
and then they became.
No, I think you're right. That is crazy. Drag families are incestuous sometimes.
Vanjie, out of these, is definitely the one that I feel like was most associated, because she obviously had the last name. Mm-hmm. Alexis Mateo would be a hard standard to meet. And this first time around, she was out first, but she became iconic.
She became iconic. And, I mean, that must be the Mateo legacy to become a meme,
Right.
Because bam.
Right.
And all of that.
They're not even trying sometimes to make a catchphrase, and they do it.
And they do it, exactly.
Season 11 has even more. We've got Davenport's, Kyria C. Davenport, Raja D. O'Hara, the D stands for Davenport. Honey Davenport, also in that same family, but I put Monet there for her because she was Monet Exchange's original drag mom. Now look, I added these things last minute. But they're just these things from the wall.
Oh my god.
But they match, so I put them on, but I didn't. That one was falling off.
Do you want to glue it or anything? Okay.
Because I've done this look before and I never had those. I just added those on today.
I love it though. They were cute. The Davenports, what a legendary house. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah, Sahara, then Kennedy, all those years later. And then after that, it doesn't pop up again until these girls. They had 3 of them.
That drag house is fierce. I would love to see just a House of Davenport show. I would go to that,
Yeah, everyone on this has come back except for Honey.
Yeah.
And Honey was the earliest. And
Honey left on a weird note, too.
Yeah, I want her to come back and get a fair shakeout.
Yeah.
Kahana was out, actually, before her on that season, but has come back and got a fair redemption.
Yeah.
Not a fair redemption, but a redemption.
A redemption. It's funny, I feel like her and Coco kind of had reverse stories, because Coco came back and didn't do as well, and then Kahana came back and did so much better, No plastique shade. I think I love her, and she's one of my favorites, but, out of, the dancing divas of the Edwardses, I wouldn't think...
I think of the personality as well with them.
Yeah.
And she's a little bit quieter in terms of the personality.
Right.
You didn't see her, like, give that energy until Alyssa was there in front of her, and then she, like, popped it on.
Right, exactly. And then she brought it out. And sometimes...
And she won that week.
And sometimes that's so real because you can be yourself around your family and your loved ones and your friends, and when you strip that all away, then you are not yourself.
I think we're all different people with different people.
Yeah.
Like, you is often seen as a negative thing, but, like, that's just human behavior.
If you don't act the same way you do around your, like, family as you do your friends, you know? Like, bottom line.
Or, like, you can't be all kikiing at the bank. You gotta...
No, yeah!
you gotta be business.
You gotta act like a CEO, okay?
The other folks that are part of the House of Edwards, they kind of live in Alyssa's shadow in a bit as to where Plastique has made her own path.
She's I think she's the most followed drag queen...
on TikTok ever.
Yeah.
Like, in the world.
In the world. Like, she's like a whole production. And she is just... untouchable, unreachable. One of the best, like, all-stars runway packages we've ever seen, you know?
She's still so damn young.
She was,
She could come back in another 5 years and then get her global title. Like
I could see that for sure. Or if they continue the Slajan Royale.
Too,
but she's too legendary.
I was gonna say we didn't put her on there because this would be unfair.
It would be unfair.
It would be like, oh, this is a setup. It'd be like when Alaska Shea, like, oh, so they want to crown her today,
right? So we already know who we're crowning. Got it. Is Pearl Scarlett's mother?
Pearl is Scarlet Envy's drag mom.
I didn't know that.
I always forget about that.
That's a gag. I also don't really see it at all. I feel like their drag is in two different worlds.
It's hard to say because Pearl's aesthetic always has evolved, you know?
Yeah, it's so different now than when it was on the show.
And Scarlett's doesn't have a thing you can pinpoint what it is, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if I could,
it's good drag, but it's...
Yeah, I don't know if I could see something and immediately know that's Scarlett, you know?
Season 12, we've got Daya Sin, Aja's drag sister. Yes. Drag daughter, right? Or...
I think that's her daughter, yeah.
Yeah.
And Kandy's her daughter, too.
Well, that's coming up.
Oh, spoiler.
And then Jan, her drag mama was on the year before, Alexis Michelle.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No. And I'm the theater girl representative of St. Louis.
Alexis Michelle did what is that bitch's name? From the Kardashians. What's their mom? Kris Jenner.
Kris Jenner.
When she did that, she
did that in her audition tape. Jan did that too.
Jan was known for that character, and so I remember Alexis shouting out Jan, saying thank you, daughter, for giving me blah blah blah,
your blessing.
Letting me do.
Yeah. Well, Jan did in her audition tape. She did "Call Me Mother" by RuPaul as Kris Jenner.
Right.
Love that. But I did not know that. But that makes a lot of sense.
Also, narratively, it makes sense.
Honestly, I kind of want an all theater girl season with Plasma and Jan and Susie Toot and Rose.
Because they can't all be the girl that's not getting
it. They're just screaming at each other. It would be the loudest season, decibel wise.
When it comes to singing, but it also would be the most passive aggressive season ever.
Oh my god.
Like the feelings that you would be able to see but not hear.
Right. The tears.
That would be amazing.
I would watch it.
Maybe just 6 episodes because that could get exhausting.
It would be overwhelming.
Daya walked out.
Yeah. Oh my god, the way she walked out was so dramatic. She
definitely had that House of Aja aesthetic. I would say, from the little bit we saw of her.
But she wasn't as,
she didn't perform like Aja.
No, and she didn't, I feel like, when I think of Kandy, when I think of Aja, I think of, such a big personality, and, Dahlia was kind of quiet.
But here's the thing, in a drag family like that, where, it's they had a small family where it's 4 of them that spent tons of time together. If everyone is like that you can't live like that.
Right.
So there's got to be people
to
balance it.
Theater girl season.
Right.
The House of Aja's fierce, though. I think they've had a rekindling too. They keep going back in and out.
It starts at Aja, but then Kandy has a whole side family, and then there's girls that are under Kandy that then have their whole own families.
I wish I was under Kandy right now.
You'd be on the show.
Right.
Speaking of Kandy, up next is season 13. We've got Kandy Muse, but first, Kimora Hall, Rose, and Simone.
Is Jada Kimora's mom? Is that Jada?
That's her sister, Jada Essence Hall. And Kimora Hall.
Oh my god, I knew that and I literally just forgot.
So the last year's winner
Hall.
ends up being the first out, yeah.
Yeah, oh.
And they're both Chicago, the Midwest,
Yeah. Oh my
Wisconsin.
god, from the House of Hall.
House of Hall.
Chicago's Mackie Doll. I love her. I love Kimora.
Unlike Dahlia, Kandy did give us the the full House of Aja experience in terms of the personality.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, even more, she topped her mom.
Oh.
And I heard that. That's a real in real life, too. I don't know.
I heard that about her. But yeah, I think... I would say that they both gave us, like, incredible, iconic TV moments, you know?
Yeah. What's very significant is I feel like their story arc on the season was, in my opinion,
defined.
The production was impacted by the previous person they had on.
Yeah.
Some positive, some negative.
Like, Kimura's was probably...
It was to, like, yeah. It was, I mean, it's something you can't look past, the fact that last year's winner has her sister on and then she's first out.
Right, yeah. And Rosé had that whole...
kind of lived Jan's fantasy.
Yeah, of winning the Rusical, finally, you know?
With Gigi and Simone, they both won 4 challenges each, although they did make Simone lip sync twice.
And I think Gigi did almost all of Simone's wigs,
yeah,
too,
she does a
for
lot
her
of
package. And her mom did her, like, one gown that she wore for the last one with the cape.
I want to marry... if I could marry somebody, I'd marry Gigi's mom.
Gigi's mom has got it going on, okay?
Right. Stacy's mom. What was different between them, that sometimes I would... you'd almost forget that they're related in terms of personality, because Simone reminds me of people... Because we live in Missouri. She was from Arkansas, and I used to live at the Boot Heel, which is right, you know...
Oh, my God.
Right on the border there where Arkansas is. So, like... For me, she felt like she had a lot more flavor and relatability than Gigi did. At first, because it took a while for Rosé to get a win, she did end up winning 3 challenges, but at first it felt like they were going to give her that Jan never get a win arc.
You
know,
yeah,
like,
it did give that.
It did give that at first.
She was Pink Jan.
She was a little bit more blunt than Jan. Jan didn't share her feelings with the room.
Yeah, she kept her cards a little closer to her chest.
From what we saw of them on the show, like, let's say they're doing something together.
Yeah.
Rosé's the girl calling the orders, like, what we're going to do. Here's what's going to happen. She's making the plan.
Well, I think even in Stephanie's Child, Jan said, like, Rosé was the one that came up with all the harmonies and, like, did, you know.
I believe it, yeah. She gives that energy. Aja being early out, and then her sister Daya, the year before that, being first out. Kandy making it to top 2, Kandy top 2 Muse.
Yeah.
That's definitely, like, redemption for the house.
For sure.
And Rosé also making it to the finale.
Oh, yeah.
And then Simone, Gigi did make it to the finale, but the family got the crown.
Yes.
There you go. Up next, season 14. These are very significant ones. Daya Betty and Willow Pill.
Our Missouri girls, I should say. Crystal and Daya.
She got compared to her a lot.
I guess maybe it's because I've just been following both of them for, like, a lot of their career. I, like, whenever people were like, you just look like Crystal Method, I was like, I literally don't see it.
I think it's an oversimplification that feels like a very easy thing for them to do story-wise, to push her.
Right.
They're kind of like Sugar and Spice in terms of, like, their aesthetic and what they deliver as characters.
Evie and Willow, just like...
God, they have so much in common, because they both only won 1 maxi challenge, too.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Like, they're both alternative, but their aesthetics are unique. It never felt like Willow was doing Evie, you know?
No, not at all. Yeah. And because they're cohesive, but, like, it's almost like the Spice Girls. Like, they're in the same world, but, like, they have different brands of the spice.
Willow's point of view is more irreverent and, like, more unhinged.
Yeah.
Like,
which is crazy to get more unhinged than Evie, but I agree, yeah.
I feel like Evie's drag aesthetic is more of the look, as to where Willow's has, like, a personality with it, a point of view.
Yeah, there's, like a flavor to Willow.
There's some evil under there.
Yeah.
Or, you know, there's a crazy woman under there.
Right, but Willow is a wild card. She is just kooky, ooky, bananas tooky.
And you gotta be, like, so fierce to
pull that off.
To be those girls that pull that off, make it to the end, and then win, and then not be, like, one of the queens that everyone's like, well, they shouldn't have won, you know? Like,
no, yeah.
That's fierce for them.
I agree. Both of them, their wins were so valid and correct.
And it was, like, the right time for both of them.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Moving on to season 15. And we got another winner up here. But also, we've got 2 of Mo Hart's daughters.
Oh my god, yeah.
Lux Noir London and Robin Fierce.
Wait, I knew about Lux. I didn't know that Robin.
Yeah, I can't remember, because, Robin's from Connecticut. And,
yeah.
Well, the thing is, all of Mo's...
Mo be traveling, she has lots of babies.
Mo, from Missouri, lives in L.A., got daughters in New York, Connecticut, and one in the UK, because Black Peppa is also her drag daughter as well in the UK, which is also crazy because Black Peppa's aesthetic is so unique that doesn't, to me, I don't see any overlap with.
Honestly, all of their aesthetics are so different.
Right. Because Robin gives more superhero warrior vibes, typically. And Lux is more fashion.
I could see Lux and Black Peppa being related, though. You know.
And I could see Lux and Mo having some overlap.
Yeah.
But Mo leans more to the camp as well.
I just feel like their performance styles are really different.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. But that's all.
One thing you can see is Sasha Colby and Carrie Colby.
Yeah.
The beauty, the body, the sex appeal.
The gorgeousness.
The face. They're both Leos. I'm glad that, for Carrie's sake, that it was Carrie on first and then Sasha.
That would be oh my god.
Because
I would hate to try to live up to literally. Because, Sasha Colby, she's
a legend.
She's the Beyonce of drag,
She says that Beyonce was
inspired by her.
Yeah, Sasha Fierce.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I'm glad too. I would not want to go on after my mother if she delivered something that.
If your mother was that
untouchable, yeah. But I do love Carrie though. She's so fierce,
no, I do too.
And everyone in the House of Colby just.
Carrie's very personality. Fierce. With Sasha, wasn't that her first time ever auditioning? For that season she got on?
Yeah.
I think she said that.
Well, I can't imagine them saying no to her before that.
She sent her daughter as a test run.
Yeah, she said,
try that.
Let me see how you do. And now, apparently, I think we've talked about it on the channel, but page 3 is rumored to be on UK.
Oh,
and that's her.
So she could have a girl overseas, too.
She could have a girl overseas.
That's funny that it's, all right here.
Right.
Moving on to season 16, we've got 4 queens that have deep family associations. Hershey was, of course, a jetée, so Cornbread was her drag sissies. Mirage and Anitra are good drag sissies in Vegas, and definitely have a lot, you
can see that aesthetically.
Maya Iman LePage is part of the House of Davenport.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did not know that until I
researched.
I was researching for this video, but performance-wise, it totally makes sense.
Yeah, I can totally
Very Davenport.
For sure.
And then, of course, Tsunami Muse was Kandy Muse's daughter.
Yes. And Tsunami is kind of like Daya in that they're a little quieter, even though they're in the Muse family.
But everyone was kind of in the shadows of their families.
Yeah.
Mirage and Maya did have standout moments, though.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel so bad for Hershey, because that is just a hard legacy to live up to.
And Cornbread was barely on the show, but it is.
But I don't understand why she wore that UPS outfit.
I don't either. I did like her talent show song.
But the song was great.
She even said that her style was like auntie, but you could see it, and it was not draggy enough.
Right. Maybe someday she'll come back on a early out All Stars or something, because she
has a lot of personality.
She has a lot of personality and a lot more to prove, because she is a talented girl.
Yeah.
But I was glad that Mirage at least got her somewhat redemption. Mirage is one of my favorite RuGirls that I've gotten to meet outside, and she
worked with her at a show.
Yeah, we got to really kiki with her. And I hope that she gets to come back sometime, because she has been slaying in Las Vegas.
She's on the Vegas show?
Yeah.
She's going to be on season 2 of the
Vegas
show, so maybe we'll get to know her more there.
Oh, for sure.
And then finally, season 17. I think this is more than ever, right?
Yeah, this is the season of the Nepo Queens.
Right. We moved on to almost the whole cast.
Yeah.
Arietti was Irene, the alien's drag sister, which, considering their, senses of humor and the way it was misinterpreted, well, especially, Irene, you could say it was misinterpreted, but there's just the theme of being a little bit
harsh,
intense, and harsh.
They're intense in the House of Alien.
Right, whatever that, yeah. Crystal Envy?
Mm-hmm.
I almost forgot that. I was I kept struggling to find the girl's name. Crystal Envy is drag sisters to Jasmine Kennedy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're good drag sissies.
Oh my god.
I would have never guessed that, because Jasmine also is a big personality.
Yeah, and Crystal's a little bit more quiet, but Crystal is just as competitive. So I could see that, like,
I
if
mean,
not even more.
She was in the top more than Jasmine was.
Yeah.
Jasmine struggled. Kori King, drag sisters to Plain Jane. Like, they turned that around quick.
And you can see that with the Boston body, you know.
With the bodysuits, with the being bold and unafraid to say how they feel.
Yeah, the cutting sense of humor.
I think Kori's is definitely not as harsh as Plain Jane.
I agree,
I think Kori, to me, gives me, like, good time party girl.
Oh, for sure. Good time party girl.
Plain Jane does not give me that. But
Plain Jane is, like...
Again, balance.
Yeah. Although there were moments in Untucked where Kori, like, you know, was kikiing, and I could see her, you know, getting a little...
a little spicy.
A little spicy,
mm-hmm.
but
that's not her, like, that's Plain's, like, default mode.
Right. But...
They also love bodysuits.
Yeah, they do. Love a bodysuit. Bubba bodysuit. And Lux and Lana, you can definitely see that family resemblance.
The theme we're seeing is more quiet than your predecessor, than your family member.
That's true.
Not every time, but
not
like
every time.
If you wanted to make a generalization.
You're right. That is kind
Kandy
of a
Muse
trend.
Is actually Kandy is like the exception.
Exception to the rule. Yeah. That is interesting. I wonder, well, because maybe they don't have to be as loud on their audition tapes because they have the name to carry them. No shade.
The name got them on.
No shade.
Well, I mean, to be real,
real,
the reality is the family connection gets you a lot.
It does.
Lucky Star was Nina Bonina Brown's drag daughter. That didn't come up on the show because I feel like Nina's probably one of those queens we don't really
Apparently.
Do they have a falling out?
Yeah, they did have a falling out, but Lucky actually had applied to Dragula and Drag Race and got onto Dragula, but then said no because she
got on Drag Race.
Because she got on Drag Race.
Wow,
so
good for her. Must have been a good tape.
I think Nina helped her with her audition tape, but that was like the last thing that she really helped her with. Because I don't know, I don't really remember why they had a falling out, but
probably nonsense, drag nonsense.
Right. But hopefully Lucky will come back because I do enjoy her. And I feel like that was such a gag to me this season was her early out. I would not have thought that.
I would have never guessed that, yeah. Because she was so unique and her aesthetic was so interesting. Yeah. Family members of Trinity the Tuck, Jules Sparkles, which is Trinity's granddaughter, and then her drag daughter, Sam Starr.
They're just driven and competitive and polished.
I think obviously most people see that Sam is maybe a little too similar.
Yeah.
To Trinity.
Well, she's literally borrowing.
Sometimes literally, wearing. Being Trinity.
It's funny because I haven't really heard a lot of like Jules like having borrowed a ton of her drag.
We haven't seen that, and it doesn't. Yeah. It hasn't felt like that.
Right.
In the same way, I feel like Jules has still managed to keep Jules.
Right. Her aesthetic.
Jules' aesthetic is actually very diverse, too.
Sam is polished, for sure. She always looks great. And her face just like, Meredith Blake tease, like,
great
gorgeous.
Beat. Yeah.
But...
even better on her mom.
I mean, the House of Tuck, that is a fierce, fierce house, you know? Would be afraid to be up against them in a competition.
I mean, the fact that two of them made the finale is pretty fierce.
Right. She had multiple offspring.
And she might be the next girl to have the family have a mother-daughter winners. Ooh. Or grandmother and granddaughter winners.
Right.
I actually feel like that might be more likely. And it would be a first.
Right. Well, Sam can't win because she won the Rusical.
That's true. Now it's time to take a look at our YouTube thanks. Julia always coming through for us every week, and it's so appreciated. Every little bit helps. And Tex Erin coming through for us every week, too, but also a second time this week.
Oh, thank you.
She said, I think we can all agree that we want cornbread back, absolutely, on our TVs, and fully realize woman she is now. That picture she posted this week.
So beautiful.
Incredible.
Link ponytail, that was fierce.
The gold, golden woman. And I mean, she's always been a superstar.
Right.
We talked about it in this video.
Her personality, just out of the world.
But Tex Erin said that as a fellow cancer survivor, she's an inspiration on her journey.
Oh.
That's great.
That's amazing.
But yeah, she handled that like a pro. Cornbread, is on another level.
She's a fighter.
I feel like they have to be asking her back. It's just got to be her decision. So hopefully one day she will want to come back.
Mm-hmm. When she's good and ready, I feel like she will, at the right time.
Yeah, she's a smart girl. She's a Capricorn.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to do it on her terms.
Yes.
Well, let us know what you think about our list and who you want to see on All Stars as well. And, which families, connections, all that nonsense that I said earlier. I have one last thing to say today. Glad you got to see us. Bye!